Good afternoon from London. The weather's improving here. Hello to all dear comrades, friends and supporters. This is Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British group for the study of the Juche Idea, chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, an official delegate of KFA for the United Kingdom, president of the Association for the Study of Songun Politics of the UK, and also the owner of this channel, Songun 007. And I thought, because of the very serious situation on the Korean peninsula, in which the DPRK is being threatened by US imperialism and also the South Korean puppets, and by Japanese imperialism and even some vassal states of US imperialism such as Australia, I felt the pressing need to make a short video to address the situation. I think it's very important that we stand in solidarity with People's Korea, the homeland of Juche, and the independent socialist country. In fact, the most independent country in the world. You know, the country that John Major, if you remember him, said had undiluted independence, quote unquote. And there's been a lot of nasty hysteria in the mainstream media of the imperialists, lying as usual. There was a lot of sensationalism created by the Japanese authorities, who set off an air raid siren for all of 30 seconds, but this got over dramatised by the media, and it was a silly thing for Japan to do, because they would have known that in fact it was a test of a missile, and that the missile was aimed to land in the Pacific Ocean. It was not aimed to land on Japan. No one was injured by the DPRK's missile launch. And I think it's worth noting here that in the past Japan brutally oppressed the Korean nation. It annexed Korea in 1910, though it had been trying to colonize Korea for some years before that, and it terrorized the Korean people over a space of several decades. So I think we've got to put things into their proper context. And indeed, the measures taken by the DPRK, which have not been actually confirmed as yet by the DPRK media, so we only have what are really unconfirmed reports by the mainstream media, were taken because of the aggressive moves of US imperialism and the South Korean puppets. And so far, a statement was issued on Monday night by the DPRK Foreign Ministry warning about the situation, and also two statements have been issued by Comrade Pak Jung-chun, Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. So, I mean, what is happening is that the US and South Korean puppets from the end of October were staging the Hoguk exercise, threatening the DPRK, And now they've started the Vigilant Storm exercise, and in fact today they've actually announced that the exercise is going to be extended, something that is further increasing tension, and you'd think that they would learn their lesson and desist from these kind of provocations and cancel the exercises. The Vigilant Storm exercise was previously suspended from 2018 under the former South Korean puppet administration of Moon Jae-in, and of course again it's important to note that there was a change of regime in South Korea, a change from what had been a supposedly liberal regime, which had made some peaceful overtures and had held 3 inter-Korean summits with the DPRK. Change from a liberal regime to a far-right fascist regime that is hell-bent on confrontation with People's Korea, and not just ideological and political confrontation, but actual military confrontation with the DPRK. The Vigilant Storm exercises actually involve 240 planes, including 100 US planes, which include F-35A stealth fighters, F-15K jets, and KF-16 jets. Even Australia, a reactionary vassal state of the US, is involved, as it sent a KC-30A tanker aircraft to assist the US imperialists and South Korean puppets in refueling. And the involvement of Australia adds another dimension to the exercise, showing that other countries are being dragged into the threats and provocations against People's Korea by US imperialism and its South Korean puppets. And we say shame on Australia for getting involved in the Korean peninsula. You wonder whether Australia wants to repeat its shameful history in the last Korean War, when it sent young Australian men to fight with the US imperialists against the Korean people. In his statement, Comrade Pak Jong-chun, Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, points out that Vigilant Storm is an aggressive and provocative military drill targeting the DPRK, and very correctly draws attention to the fact that the exercise, Vigilant Storm, has been named after Operation Desert Storm, which was the code name of the US invasion of Iraq in 1991, some 31 years ago. And I can actually remember myself going on a demonstration against the Iraq, what was really the first Iraq war. Recently, the US Defense Department adopted the DPRK's regime change as a major target of nuclear strategy and blustered that the DPRK would be destroyed if it used nukes. Of course, these remarks are, apart from being very bellicose, are of course very ill-judged. And Comrade Pak Jong-chun warned the US that if and South Korea, that if they attempt to use armed force against the DPRK, the special means of the DPRK's armed forces will carry out their strategic mission without delay and the US and South Korea will have to face a terrible case and pay the most horrible price in history. End of quote. We strongly ourselves denounce the holding of Operation Vigilant Storm and call for it to be ended. It is a serious provocation against the DPRK, as well as a genocidal war exercise aimed at bombing innocent civilians in the DPRK and overthrowing the socialist system of the DPRK. The DPRK's missile launches are its independent right and self-defensive in nature. Under international law, the DPRK has the right to self-defense. The DPRK is defending itself against invasion attempts and the presence of 30,000 US troops in South Korea and US weapons of mass destruction, and the US nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the Ronald Reagan, named after the mad old warmonger who was president of the US in the 1980s, is present in Korean waters. It's also worth mentioning that the US did have and may still have 1,000 nuclear weapons in South Korea. The US announced in 1992 that it was withdrawing these weapons, but later took a position of neither confirming or denying their existence in South Korea, meaning that they are probably still there, perhaps not in such big numbers, but they are still there nevertheless. And finally, I'd just like to take issue with the British government. Some minister I'd never heard of for the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office issued a statement attacking the DPRK, which was like an old gramophone record, like the mantra of a zombie, and it called for the DPRK's denuclearisation, and of course we know that this really means regime change. Denuclearisation is desocialisation, it's decommunisation. That's what denuclearisation really means. We say, bravo to People's Korea for defending your independence and not giving up your nuclear weapons. And another false accusation by the FCO was that the DPRK doesn't prioritise the needs of its people. Now, the DPRK does indeed prioritise the needs of its people by measures such as providing housing virtually free of charge and providing dairy products to children, as well as measures such as free healthcare, free education, low-cost public transport and low-cost food. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK is lying when it says that the DPRK is not prioritising the needs of its people. Indeed, the British government should look after the needs of its own people before it criticises others. What about all the people who have to go to food banks? What about rising energy prices? What about rising food prices? What about all the homeless people you have in Britain? It's Britain that needs to prioritise the needs of its people instead of acting as a poodle of the US and sticking its nose into other people's business. So we denounce the British government for its anti-DPRK attitude. So in conclusion, let's stand by the DPRK, defend its right to independence, defend its socialism, and defend people's career with no ifs or buts. Thank you for listening to this video. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, Songun 007, please consider subscribing. And also to the affiliated channel, Korean Friendship Association of the UK. Please check out our publications on our lulu.com spot. We've got a number of publications, and I'm working on a new book, a short one, called People's Career Defeats COVID-19. It's all go at KFA UK and the British Group for the Study of the Juche Idea. And lastly, please support our activities. We picked the BBC last week. We're probably going to have a few more activities at the end of November and in December, both online and possibly in real life, so please support them. And thank you for your support that you've shown so far, and I hope to see you again, and have a great day. Goodbye, friends.